Okay, so should we be utilizing crossover step, hop step? Absolutely. What I want to start this question with is the idea that footwork really should be a natural idea. It's not like somebody scientifically went out at some point and said, okay, we gotta move exactly this type of way. It flowed for certain people, and then others latched onto it. So we need these types of footwork to really kind of be natural movements. So let's take a look at them first before we get into examples. The crossover step is my first example, all right? And what a crossover step is it's when I take my outside leg, in this example of a wide ball, and after swinging my racket, I'm going to take my outside leg and I'm going to cross it over my inside leg with a good amount of room, okay? Meaning I'm going to get somewhere like that and then release my left foot, okay? What a lot of players do wrong in this example on an out wide ball would be to hit and either immediately get into a shuffle, which is going to be way too many steps at too slow of a pace, or hit an out wide ball and immediately think, oh, you know what, I got to get away from this side, so I'm going to turn and run. And now the problem with that is a ball coming in behind you, you can't turn back around for it. So the crossover step, bringing the outside leg after swinging over the inside leg, that covered a lot of ground. Releasing the left foot now covers a lot of ground. And then I'm into my shuffle, maybe 2 or 3 shuffles, and I'm all the way back to the center of the court. And I know my legs are long, but if you guys can make that move explosively, you'll be really happy with how much ground you cover. All right, so let's take a look at that crossover step in terms of recovery back to the middle after me having actually hit a ball. I think you can see. Now, the great thing is if Mark went back in here, I can make that simple move and turn. Watch it if I do it wrong. I'm going to use the shuffle step immediately. Watch how much slower I look. I mean, look at that right there. Okay, that's a lot of steps, pretty slow, and I tried really hard to move fast. It's just kind of wasted movements. All right, the other one is this. He actually fed that next ball. This is the time he's going to feed that next ball. I'm going to just hit, turn and run because I'm thinking I better go cover the other side of the court. And now a ball that's right behind me, I can't get back to it. So on the out wide shot, recovering back to the middle of the court, bring the outside leg, explode it over the inside leg, release the left, and then get into your shuffle. You're going to find it really helpful. All right, second example. Let's say I'm here and a ball comes really high and deep to my forehand. Let me show you first what I'm used to seeing a lot for players trying to get back into this zone back here on a high deep ball. Here we go. How'd that look? Hopefully not too familiar. So what did I utilize? Saw the high deep ball and just started to backpedal. Couple things majorly wrong with this. Even good athletes feel like they're going to clip their heels and fall backwards. So it's not a confident movement, and therefore it's going to be a slow movement because you're protecting your balance. Secondly, what did I not initiate? My unit turn to be able to actually swing at the ball correctly. I'm going back, backpedaling, and look where my hands and my body are. So even if I do make it to an okay spot, my swing will suffer. So we got to get rid of the back pedal and utilize the crossover step. The only difference between this crossover step and the recovery now is that the left leg is going to cross over the right leg. And I think you immediately notice, look how much ground I covered. look at the upper body. I'm set to hit a forehand. And now if I got to go a little deeper, I'll cross it over one more time. I will never get into a shuffle step back here. It is a continuation of crossover steps, however deep I need to go. 2, maybe 3. By that point, we're at the back fence. You're not going to need that many of these, all right? So, crossover step, take the left leg deep. Here we go. Okay, let's move it back in. Watch it again. Really a great way to play against that deep ball so you're not feeling too defensive. All right, now the third crossover step would be on a runaround forehand up inside the baseline. We've got 2 runaround forehands. One where I might stay behind the baseline. Then we got that one that sits up there. It's our favorite one. Okay, so the crossover step for the short one, again, is the right leg coming in front of the left leg. I'm going in that direction. So as that occurs, I just covered a decent amount of ground, and if the ball's pretty wide, I might do it one more time. I can't overstate this enough. We do not want to start shuffling to go hit a runaround forehand. We're going to get there slow, and the shot's going to suffer. Why are we hitting this shot? To be ultra aggressive. But if the footwork makes me slow and kind of cautious, the swing will be slow and cautious. So we got to explode to the ball. The crossover step, right foot in front, maybe once, maybe twice, and I'm set up to just crush this ball. So let's watch it once the wrong way. I'm going to kind of shuffle in there. Could have gotten a better shot off with my backhand for sure. Okay, now I'm going to cross over. All right, and I know I juiced up the swing speed. That's, obviously a little bit to show you guys, what I'm capable of, but it's a mentality as well. When I'm moving well, when that footwork is flowing, it's athletic. It's not manufactured just to kind of get me places. I really want to explode to the ball. The swing that you can produce is going to be the type of swing that I know all of you are out there trying to hit. Okay, now a reverse crossover, similar move, used in different situations, also really important. So let me show you 2 instances of a reverse crossover step. The runaround forehand that puts me a little bit deeper, either even with the baseline or behind the baseline. It doesn't make sense now that I would take my right foot in front of my left foot. It kind of pushes me inside the court, and we're talking about a ball that's deep. So what I want you to start to do on any runaround around the baseline or deeper is bring the right leg, or what we would call the outside leg for a forehand, and explode it behind the left foot. You can see now I covered good amount of ground. It still is a nice push-off feeling rather than those weaker shuffle steps. If I had to do it one more time, I would, and I'm setting up a nice runaround forehand where I'm getting to the ball efficiently. Same thing if I had to go a little deeper. I just kind of swing this foot around and set up the runaround forehand way back here. Okay, I know a lot of you maybe don't use that shot all that often, but if you want to, this is the way you have to move for that ball. So Mark will feed in a couple deeper shots. Watch this leg. Push behind the left leg. Coming off the split. Okay. Just again, the mindset I'm in when I feel my body moving great is I'm going to stay aggressive. It's a really nice feeling. Okay, little deeper ball now. Coming off the split. Okay, and I think you could see it's not, for that deeper ball, coming off one good crossover step, I feel myself getting into a little bit of a jump split, which, again, I told you this footwork just has to flow. So I don't want you feeling so technical about it that you're saying, oh, I didn't continue to cross over. If there's a movement after that initial crossover step that feels right, I want you to go with it. The main idea here is that the first step you take is not a shuffle step, all right? The other time we would use a reverse crossover. Backhand slice coming up inside the court, probably a low approach shot. Here's what happens a lot. Players come in, go down for the slice, and bail out coming around with the left foot. Notice what happens to my shoulders. I open up, the slice is going to pop up. A lot of times it's going to go too far to the right, and it's simply because you guys don't necessarily know what the left foot should be doing after contact, okay? What I want to see is this. Again, reverse crossover. I'm coming into my slice. Left foot now comes around, and then the right foot starts to go forward again. Notice the space that I create with these steps. They're not small. It's big step, crossover, big step. So that's 3 moves, and I'm from the baseline almost to the service line. Very important, obviously, in a slice that the shoulders stay sideways, okay? And the reason that reverse cross step is so great is because my shoulders will stay sideways through the shot. I will not be opening up. So the racket gets to travel the way it's supposed to. All right, so let's have a look. Left foot's going to come behind the right foot. Again, I'm trying to create a lot of space with that reverse crossover. And then once I've released that foot, I'm okay to square up again because I'm obviously going into volley. Let's see it again. Okay, it's really a cool move. I just really feel like I'm gliding to the ball. It puts no stress on my slice. What I will say is this, as you're practicing it, there's a very good chance that the first couple times you do it, the crossover step might clip this heel, kind of like that, and it's going to stop your momentum. So the idea, again, create a lot of space with the crossover step to ensure that it gets around that right foot. I know it's tricky, but it is absolutely necessary to have the reverse crossover step in those 2 situations to hit the shots that you're trying to hit with efficiency. All right, and so now the last one is really a fun one, I think. You know, those others, they're going to be effective and really helpful. This one's just flat out fun, and I think it's cool to know the next one because you're seeing a lot of pros use it, and I hear a lot of people saying, how do I do that? Okay, so this is the hop step. This is for a low forehand approach shot that we're still trying to get a ton of topspin on. Let me equate it this way. I'm a huge fan of open stance forehand. Any ball sitting up, wide balls. When I talk about still utilizing a neutral stance forehand, I talk about it when the ball is low. Okay, so now we have a low ball that's in front of me, and I can't just take this step because I have to cover some ground to get there. But ultimately, this is going to really kind of mirror the step-in forehand on a low ball from the baseline. Here's how it works. I'm trying to keep my shoulders turned through contact a little bit. So when I come up to this shot, if I make the mistake of kicking my right foot around, I open up a little too fast, the racket pulls off a low ball too quickly, good chance for a miss hit, good chance for my eyes to come up too fast. I want to stay more present at contact. So this is why the hop step is so helpful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the low ball with my left foot, and to ensure that I stay here, I'm going to hop off the left foot and then land back onto the left foot. I'm going to let the right leg trail behind me. Let's do it without the ball first. Watch really closely. I'd come off a split. I'd see the low ball, left to left, and then the right. Okay, let's see that one more time. Left foot, step, hop onto the left foot, and then the right foot will carry around. Okay, we're going to put a ball in play. It's a really cool way to move up, hit a quality forehand on a low short ball. Oh yes, love this play. Okay, one more time. Okay, so that's it. Hop, step, short, low forehands. Now, you're going to see some pros do it on the backhand side. I have a one-hander, so generally if I get a low ball to my backhand, I'll hit the slice and utilize the reverse crossover. I have seen some two-handers take the low backhand, right foot to right foot, and then land on the left. So that's something to try, so long as it's a natural feeling in your feet. Go ahead and use it. I think it comes a little easier on the forehand than the backhand though. Okay, so how important is the split step on every shot besides the serve? Obviously, I think it goes without saying, absolutely. You split step every time your opponent is about to make contact with the ball, no questions asked, except for this situation. Okay, we're going to be in a doubles scenario here. Think of doubles. At least at the start of the point, you are only covering your half of the court unless your partner poaches, which is generally pre-planned. Okay, so if your partner and you have not decided to poach and you are going to serve and volley, you know at least on that first ball that you are only covering your half, which is not a ton of lateral footwork. Okay, I think you would all agree out there. The great part of a split step is that tennis being such a lateral sport, it allows you to change direction both left and right really easily. Where if we don't have a split step, we have no explosion from side to side. Okay, so being that a serve and volley, I would come in and not have to be in the mindset that I have to cover a ton laterally, and yet I'm really trying to get going forward. I think you'll see in the pro game and for high-level club players, more of a shuffle step is completely appropriate on a serve and volley in doubles. Okay? What I want to steer away from is the idea that we're going to serve, and you guys are hearing me say that you don't have to split step, and so now you're just going to sprint in. Obviously, that's not great. We have to have some level of ability to go right or to go left. All right, so what you're going to see from me in this scenario is that I'll serve, and as I start to see that return coming back cross court, my feet are just going to kind of stutter around to help me gauge the ball, but I'm not planting off a split and then pushing off completely. Okay, so you can see that's just what I would call a stutter step. I'm just not splitting, but I'm not sprinting in because I don't want to just blow by the tennis ball. So my feet just kind of stutter around about the time that the opponent's going to make contact, and I feel like it allows my momentum in a serve and volley in doubles to go forward better than if I make that true split. Let's see it again. Okay, so yes, absolutely plan on split stepping every time your opponent is about to make contact with the ball. Save the serve, and now you've got the idea that you can save the idea of a split step if you're serve and volleying in doubles, have not pre-planned a poach, and want to really try to carry that momentum off your first volley a little more forward into the net. I think you'll find that piece of stutter step footwork really, really helpful. All right, so different types of split steps. I think very simply put, if we're talking about a different split step, it's simply the width at which I'm going to land my feet. All right, and there definitely are scenarios in tennis where I'm going to land a little bit more narrow, and then other times where I'm going to land a little bit wider in my split. They both land the same though, meaning onto the balls of my feet. All right, extremely important that you never switch how you land. Stay square. The weight is evenly distributed between your feet, and you're on the balls of your feet. Okay, so the time in which that I would use a little more narrow landing for my split step is just standard ground strokes. And the reason for this is because when I land more narrow, it's generally when I'm dealing with a ball that's not testing my reflexes to the extreme. Okay, I want a nice push off to the ball. I'm respecting the fact that I don't know which way they're hitting, but at the same time I'm pretty far back here and they're hitting it kind of a normal ground stroke, and I don't require, you know, an insane reflex to get to the next shot. So in terms of that width for a split step on a standard ground stroke return, I want your feet to land just slightly wider than your shoulders. So if you can feel that out, I guess the same, you know, my hips and my shoulders are about the same width. Maybe my shoulders are slightly wider. Land with your feet slightly wider than your shoulders. That will be plenty efficient and help the ground stroke in terms of getting us pushed off to the ball. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so, you know, athletic, maybe doesn't look crazy explosive, but definitely useful. Now, I use that word reflex. There are times in tennis where we are really getting tested severely on our reflexes. The first would be return of serve, okay? As we know, guys have the ability, girls have the ability to really pop the serve, slice it out wide, kick it high to the backhand. That's an extreme example where my reflexes have to be really sharp. So in that situation, I want a wider split step because I'm going to tend to push off more explosively in a short amount of time. Okay, so I'm going to see the return of serve. I come up to this split generally with one step into a wide split. Others of you might start more stationary. All being the same, I want you to land with your feet probably another foot wider apart than we would use back in the center of the court. Okay? Let's take a look at returning serve with a little wider split. I don't know where Mark's going to serve to, but watch how I land. Okay. You know, again, I know that Mark's got a good serve. It's taking everything I've got to read the ball and get to the ball. So I'm going to land wider in that split. Same idea though, balls of my feet, weight evenly distributed. The other time that we're going to start to see a very similar split step is when we're at the net dealing with fast reflex volleys. Okay, let me illustrate this first by having Mark hit me a couple shots pretty fast with more of that standard ground stroke split. My distance between my opponent and myself is now cut in half. So watch how kind of just the standard split, just wider than my shoulders, might leave me feeling a little bit defensive. Okay, got away with it. Okay, but not really that attacking volley that I might like to use here. Okay, so now that ball comes, it might even come faster, it might be dipping, maybe the lob comes. I don't know what I'm getting up here at the net, but I really like the idea of utilizing the wider split so that I can maximize my ability to push right, push left. Obviously, as the feet go wider, I'm a little bit lower, so if he does dip it, I'm closer to contact on those low volleys, And now at the same time, if he does lob it, I feel like I'm in a better position to rotate and turn and get my legs going back a lot more efficiently. Again, it's a time where my reflexes are really getting tested here. So let's see that wider split. Maybe the lob comes. Okay, so there you can see, I'm just a tall guy, number one, so I want that feeling that I'm down into that ball a little more. If it does come low and fast, the wider it goes, the better my push-off. Behind me, great push-off, all that stuff. Don't really quite need that kind of split against just a standard ground stroke. So it's not like we're conserving energy, it's just not necessary to split that way from the baseline against a standard ball. Return a serve and volleys for sure. Okay, so there's the distinction. Wider split against tougher shots, a little more narrow split against a ball you're assuming to be slightly easier. Yes, absolutely. I've got a drill that I think is fantastic for your footwork after serving, and it's something you can use with a player that maybe doesn't even play tennis. All they need to do is be able to toss the ball. Really great for footwork right after serving. So let's walk through it. All right, so Mark's my server today. And Mark, I'm going to have you show the crowd right now what I would like to see footwork-wise right after you serve. What's the only piece of footwork we have time for right after we serve? So he finishes in, and notice, he lands from his serve, and then it's this jump back step. Bang, into kind of a split step position. He's just having to release back, because obviously if he lands here and split steps here, he's inside the baseline. He's not giving himself great position against any ball that has some pace or depth on it. So that jump back step is about all we have time for between hitting that next shot. So here's the drill. Mark's going to serve a ball. I'm going to just underhand toss a ball to him. It could be a slight little run around forehand. There's no harm in me landing my toss out of bounds, really work on him backing off the ball. I could send him a little wide, I could bring him up. It's just engaging his feet to track the next ball and not just watch his serve like a lot of us do. Okay, so Mark, let's go ahead and hit the serve. Bounce back, little underhand toss, and a great piece of footwork there. Bounce back, saw that the ball was crowding him a little, he pushed off away from it. Nice forehand swing. Let's see it again. Bounce back, little deeper ball, he reads it. Awesome. You got another ball in your pocket? Okay, let's do it one more time here. Good. A little wider, so I'll move off the court a little bit, give Mark room to hit cross court. Obviously, if the partner you're using who's tossing the ball doesn't play tennis, make sure you're working that ball cross court, and if there's a chance your control's not great, have them toss from a little bit wider off the court. I trust Mark's swing, so we're in good shape here. Now, a little bit of a wrinkle for this drill, really a cool idea, is if the toss person can recognize that Mark hit a good serve or a poor serve, we can tailor that toss to what they did. Meaning, if Mark flat out misses his serve, I'm going to kind of throw the toss at him. I'm going to make him pay for missing the serve in the net. If he kind of floats it in there, I'm going to toss where he has to move more. And then if I think he hits a great serve, I'm going to probably float a nice high ball and reward him with more of an attacking shot. Okay, Mark, so take a couple here. One more coming. And now I'm kind of judge and jury on how well Mark's serving. Here we go. Great serve. Reward. Up and pops it. Awesome. Let's try it again. Yeah, he missed it. So now I'm kind of throwing it in, and look, there's value in that. I mean, the fact that he knows he missed the serve and I'm kind of throwing the ball in, guess what happened to his split step? It's something we saw earlier where he went a little wider and a little lower. He knows something tough is coming, and that's what we really should be feeling when we hit a bad serve, is that a better return's coming, and we better engage a little more urgency into the feet. All right, so really cool little drill. It's just a partner drill. Hand toss the ball. Give the player time for that bounce back step. I think what I've seen a couple times around the club with players trying to do this, this server has not been given time to bounce back and the toss is already coming, and now it's unrealistic timing. Nobody's returning that fast that they've got to be hitting while they're still kind of following through on the ball. All right, so really effective drill. Go out and try that. I think you'll like it a lot.